Valerie,
And I'm Taylor.
and welcome to
Whimsy Gossip
where we talk all things fantasy.
and our favorite ways to escape reality.
Today's episode, we're going to talk about
Endgame for Elain Archeron. Are you
Ooh,
team
ooh.
Illyrial? Is it a Lucian? What do you call?
Or we have a surprise at the end if you get to the end.
What? Oh, we're not going to say
On
it
a
now.
third contender.
I won't say anything then. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're forcing you either to watch the whole thing and find out, or you can just fast forward and find out.
Anyway, it's
Mhm.
Valerie's dream, and that's a little hint.
It's a good one.
That's a hint. Anyway,
It's a good one.
So for Team Elain, I know we've been working, I guess like not working with, but like
working through the teas.
Yeah, working through the teas from Ethereal Moony Teas, and today's tea, obviously, we had to do Elaine's tea. So this is Miss Elaine's tea. If you're not watching, it's really sparkly and pink, and it has black tea with rosebuds and rose hips, and of course, there's plenty of glitter in there. So I added a little bit of honey and a little bit of sugar to mine. And Val, are you drinking yours straight? Like no extra?
I'm drinking mine straight
Okay.
per usual.
Well, let's try
So
it.
you want to try it?
This one has been the one I have been dying to try. Like I have been asking Valerie at the beginning and was like, can we do Elaine tea? I really want to try that one. I really want to try that one. And she's like, we're saving Elaine tea for Elaine episode because we've had all these episodes slated for like months ahead of time. So I'm super excited.
Yes. All right, let's give it a taste.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh.
I knew it was going to be my favorite.
That
It's
is
so
smooth.
good. Oh my gosh. Elaine is the best. I think I like Elaine more than Morgan's.
That's a tough one, but yes. Because Morgan's was so good too.
No, this is so good, Valerie.
I really, really like it a lot. Like this one is a winner. I would buy a full-size version of this one.
I think for me right now, it's going to go Elaine, Morgan, and Azrael because we've only tried 3, right?
We've only tried 3. Yeah, so far it's crazy,
so Elaine,
right?
Morgan, and Azrael. That's my list. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree. All right, grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's get into this episode. I am so freaking excited. As Taylor has said, she has been like trying to drink this tea forever. I've been trying to do this episode forever. I'm so excited about it, especially because of the third option that I love. But we'll get to that later. First, I just want to kind of start off by discussing kind of Elaine's journey thus far, where we've left off with her, and yeah, kind of our overall opinions of Elaine as a character. So I don't know, maybe if you want to start and Taylor and kind of give your opinion on Elaine.
I think, okay, if any of you have read the Face Sand bonus chapter, I think, just as Reese said, there's a lot more to Elaine that we haven't yet seen. He said, just like with her gardening, she's not afraid to get her hands dirty to create something beautiful or something like that. So I think there is so much more to Elaine. And again, like he said, is kind of like the idea of her having like this mold and like the pressures of people always like expecting her to be this dainty, quiet little something that you've never seen her have to be anything else until she gets pushed a little bit farther. And I think we'd see a whole new side of Elaine. Really quickly. I cannot remember the name. Oh my gosh. It's something in Sparrow and Wild. I think it is Sparrow and Wild. This shirt is an Elaine Archeron shirt. It's what does it say? It says Elaine Archeron. It says Fortune and Fables, and it's so cute and it's very different. Like I have a Nesta shirt and I have a Feyre shirt, and I do not have an Elaine shirt, so it was a must and a need, and I'm obsessed. So
it's super freaking cute.
And I
it's
have
like
on the
this like
little
cream color.
Yeah.
And Taylor's wearing it right now.
It's like a neutrals colored shirt, but I have, if you can see, the cutest little like
matching little pants.
Little flower shorts. They're from Shein. They're not from like a cute
Yeah.
little Etsy store. But this is super cute, and I just had to wear something floral and flowery because Miss Elaine, being
I
the flower queen that
know.
she is, the
I
gardening
kind of went
queen.
with like a green vibe with of course my flower crown. So kind of just like, greenery, spring
Flower
garden
crowns are
life is
like
a
your
lane.
thing.
It
That is
is. I know
your
I need to
thing.
get more to be honest. I only have two. Um but yeah, anyway,
Back to what we
I
were
also
saying.
wanted to say too, I feel like this is a cool episode for you because you give me Elaine vibes. Like not
Oh,
so much
okay.
maybe always in your personality, but the way you look Elaine to me. And I think like other people have agreed too online, like on TikTok and stuff like that.
It's the brown hair and the brown eyes. I think, yeah.
You just have a really sweet look about you, and I just when I think about Elaine, I do think about that soft sweetness, and
Oh,
like you have the full cheeks and all of this too. So it just
thanks.
I feel like you look like her. Yeah.
That's so nice of you. Because that's really nice of you. But thank you. Wow.
I love you.
Love you too. Wow. I said since day one, since I've been reading this series, I was like, you remind me of Morgan. You have the blonde hair
Mm.
and the brown eyes, and blonde hair and brown eyes, side note, is my favorite combo. Like, if
Oh
oh
really?
my gosh, no, it is. Everyone's like, oh my God, brown hair and blue eyes, or like brown hair, green eyes, and brown hair, light eyes. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, in like a partner, brown hair and
Mm-hmm.
light eyes is like my jam. Look at my track
Yep.
record, look at my husband. But
Same. Same.
if I
Mm-hmm.
was to have anything like what I think is so beautiful on like a female, I feel like is blonde hair and brown eyes because of the stark contrast. I feel like when you're like blonde hair and blue eyes, it doesn't your eyes don't stand out as much as like blonde hair and brown eyes because like light and then like well,
Okay.
yeah, like light
Yeah.
and dark. I don't know. I'm obsessed and I've never met and of like like those traditionally very attractive people I always feel like have blonde hair and brown eyes. Like anyone that has blonde hair and brown eyes, I'm like, you are very traditionally attractive, like beautiful. You, Sierra, my sister-in-law
Yeah.
Lisa,
Thank
she
you.
all these really pretty people have blonde hair and brown eyes, and I'm like, wow, really pretty people. Anyway, back
Yeah.
to Elaine.
Yeah. Yeah, back to Elaine and talking. Speaking of the bonus chapter, I feel like going all over the place, but I really didn't like the Asriel bonus chapter at all.
Oh gosh, I
It was
didn't.
kind of, I feel like, out of place for Asriel. And if that's what's to come for him, I don't know
I'm
how
gonna
I
be
feel
so
about that.
disappointed. I'm
I
gonna
don't
be
like it.
so disappointed if that's
I
like
thought Rhysand was, I mean,
if you
one, I mean, I
haven't
guess he's not Asriel's
wait
father,
one
but
second.
I was,
If you have not read the Azrael bonus chapter from Akasif, please exit this podcast and please go read it. If you have
yeah,
not read the Face and bonus chapter from Akasif, please exit this podcast and go read it. Okay. And
there you go.
continue.
That's a
Sorry.
good warning.
And this is not
Yeah.
spoiler free. So also,
Never is.
Endgame for
It never
Elaine is
is.
not spoiler free.
Mm-mm.
Please exit this podcast and return if you have not finished books one, two, three, four, and five, and the two bonus chapters with Elaine. Not the Cassian
Boom.
Nesta one. We're not worried about that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
and resume.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just didn't like the way that was, and I was very happy with Resand. Also because I'm biased, and spoiler alert, I don't agree, and I don't want the Azriel Elaine combo. However, I'm gonna stop getting ahead of myself and let you continue with what you were going on about with how you feel about Elaine's character and everything like that. And
I mean, I pretty much,
so
like I said, I
far,
think so. We see Elaine as this like dainty, gentle, like very, like she's known, like she's the beautiful sister. Like that's all she has is her looks. And, she's just soft spoken. And I feel like she has to quote unquote play this part. And then now, as she's kind of
mm,
becoming more into herself and now that she has, I guess, this ability to not to make decisions for herself, and it doesn't have to be to like marry for looks and all this stuff, and she's like a high fae now. So
yeah,
I think we're seeing this different side of Elaine, and she's going to be embracing her seer powers. She's going to be all these epic different versions, like getting her hands dirty. um, I think her and Azrael are gonna have a little something going on. And I mean, it's always the quiet ones who are like the freaky ones. And I just feel like Azriel and Elaine are both like the quieter characters. And I don't know, that little scene in the bonus chapter when he was putting the necklace on and he was like, huh, huh, I'm going to
Yeah,
start
and then you
blushing.
re-gifted it. Are you kidding
Okay, yeah,
me?
he regifted it when he was going to put it on her neck. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, getting ahead of myself here. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
yeah.
I just. So for me, I think Elaine. I think people don't give her enough credit, and I was one of those people initially. I was like, ugh, Elaine, you're just like air. You're just like the wall.
That's
Like you're just there.
horrible.
People say that about her online. Like I've seen many people comment that, and I get it because at the end of the day, we don't see a lot of her personality. We don't like see her really branch out. We basically, see this girl who I did enjoy her little interactions with Farah when Farah initially goes back for the first time before she finds out the truth about Tamlin and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Their little interactions in the garden and everything like that. And she was just like, yeah, happy in her simple, like rich, simple, rich life, right? And her love and all of this. Cool to get married. And she was also, I think what did they say that she was her dad's favorite or her and her dad had
Yeah.
like this more better relationship too. So she just seemed like, okay, whatever, Elaine. She's just kind of,
The good girl
she doesn't have much depth. She doesn't have much
to
any
offer. Yeah.
range going on in her character. And then we see her get brought into the cauldron, and she comes out, and Lucian and her become mated,
Oh my
and
god, have you seen that
she
meme of it's my
what?
favorite Agadar meme ever. And you know
Oh my
that
god,
picture of
you
the
have to send it
drowned
to me.
cat coming out of like the sink and it's giving this look like I hate you right now. And underneath it's like Lucian, oh my god, my mate, you're my mate. And then it's like pans to like Elaine and it's like her looking like this drowned cat coming out of the sink. And like the
Oh,
expression.
you're freaking kidding. Oh
It's
my
sorry, it's my
god.
favorite Akatar
No, that
meme
sounds
going. I'm gonna
hilarious.
send it
I
to you
need to
afterwards.
find absolutely send that to me for sure, please. Oh my
Oh, it's
god.
hilarious. Anyway, go ahead.
Um Yeah. That sounds so funny. But yeah, so then we have Elaine getting out of the cauldron, and she's basically just still air at this point. She's just like there. She's just it's like Nesta has all the bite and all the
Mm-hmm.
personality and all the harsh words, and she's got something, and Elaine's just like quiet, depressed, sad. And like for the first part of the books, like you don't really understand until you think back and go back and think about why she was that way. And I think we've said this before, like she was a seer and she was seeing things and seeing the future and knew the things that were going to happen and knew that we think that she knew that their father was going to die and stuff like that. So and she's very close with him, so that's hard to know. But then she also realized that that was the only way for them to be Hybern, so then she's stuck in this place where she has to just not say anything. And so I think she has a lot more to her than meets the eye. And I'm excited to find out what that is in, the continued books, because I don't want her to just be air. I
Mm-hmm.
think she does have depth, but we just don't get to see her. We don't see her head. We don't see her perspective. We don't get much conversation with her whatsoever. And she does grow up hair in Silver Flames, like with Nesta. But even that, it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And
I would like to see her. We saw her with like Grayson and how she was like so enamored and in love with him.
yeah, what do you think about that? Let's talk about that relationship.
I think they may be like teenage love, like
Mm,
and okay, this always bothers me. I think a lot of people look at like Elaine as the little sister. Everyone
mm.
always is like, "Oh, little Elaine," and like look at her like this, the little sister. And I noticed that a lot on I guess like when people talk about her on TikToks or when they like make comments and like I think people think the order or they forget. They don't think they know, but they just forget that like the order is like Nesta, Elaine, and then Feyre. But they always make it
There's
out
the
to be
baby.
Nesta, Feyre, Elain, and little baby Elain. Like, no, Elaine is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Yeah, she's traditionally beautiful and she's meant to that's her thing. Like Nesta
Yeah.
is smart and she's cunning. She has like all these skills and abilities and is a dancer and knowledge and
Yeah.
could rule the world, like all that kind of stuff. Um and then Feyre, she is her own person. She can hunt, she can do all that, but I even feel like when people draw her with fan art, they always make her look so much younger than Feyre. And they like give her this like
Yeah.
cherub esque look. And I'm like, why are you
Mm.
making her look so young when she's older than Feyre? You
She's the
know,
middle daughter,
she's the middle
also.
child.
Like that middle child, interesting too, because like middle children usually kind of get stuck like between the parents a
Yeah.
lot of times too. So it's interesting that she had the closest relationship really to her dad
But she's
out
the
of all
middle
of them.
child, but she's always getting stuck between Nesta and Feyre because,
Right. And they've
yeah,
got so much personality. It's like she gets
yep,
lost in the middle, literally gets lost.
yeah. And also because they're always like, they growing up, like after their mom died, Feyre was, always at Nesta's neck and Nesta was always at Feyre's neck and they were always
Mm.
snappy and bitey at each other. And so I'm sure Elaine was like in the middle, just keeping peace as the middle child does. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. And she, oh man, I lost my point. But yeah, that middle child thing is interesting. The what you brought up about them being at each other's throats. What do you think about the fact that like Nesta's protection of Elaine? What do you think it was versus
I think it's
protection of Farah that way? Since Farah is the baby, you would think that the
so,
baby would get the most
yeah,
like
protection. I think because
protection.
Feyre is very self-sufficient, and again, we look at Elaine as like almost like a
Fragile.
delicate flower. Yeah, and I think that's why everyone makes her out to like almost be the youngest, and we need to just take care of baby Elaine because she's so young and she's so breakable and she's so delicate, and
Yeah.
they don't realize like, you know what, like maybe this is a little thing, but like a court of thorns and roses. Sometimes flowers have thorns. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
flowers look like, like a Venus flytrap. They will eat you.
Yeah.
Not all
Yeah.
flowers are safe and not all flowers are delicate. And, while she maybe like the exterior like looks like a little flower, she could be poisonous and she could kill you. Like,
Yeah.
and I think people discredit that and also like her sisters discredit it too by just
Mm-hmm.
looking at her like this little like dainty little flower. So I think that's a
Yeah. I,
good
I
point with
I think
Elaine.
too. Yeah, I think too. It's interesting how Sarah J. Mass, I feel like I've seen online, changed her mind a lot about the fate of Elaine and the
Mm-hmm.
fate of like Lucian, the fate of Azriel, and I think that was a mistake on her part because I think it just don't like it made her write things that don't necessarily go anywhere
Like what?
or flow anywhere, and I don't like that. It's fine, like kind of making people guess what who will she, won't she, kind of thing. But I think it just kind of lends itself to like she threw out the mate thing with Lucian, and then
Mm.
just kind of like I I feel like that was a mistake.
Okay, so
I don't know. How do you feel? I feel like that was a mistake on her part.
if we're talking about the mate thing, I think Elaine and Lucian. I am team Elaine and Lucian. But
Okay,
Sarah, somewhere
let's
I
just get
saw,
into that then. We're
okay,
doing Elaine and Lucian now.
so somewhere online someone said someone can have more than one mate. And if that's the case,
Hmm.
maybe Azrael is also her mate. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Valerie. Um, I do think it
I
makes the
can't
most
help
sense
it.
if it were to be, but I think Sarah would be like, oh, this is too expected for three brothers, three sisters, three
Yeah, it's kind of
stars
weird.
on the night
It's
court
a lot.
insignia for like Ramiel and the other two stars names I can't remember
It's a
right now.
lot.
It would be a lot of threes, and like biblically, three is a significant number.
Mm-hmm.
Nine is a
Mm-hmm.
significant number, and that's three, three, and three. So I could see if that was going to be a thing.
And she
Um,
just threw Lucian at us for what? A
because
side
I
ball?
think it maybe it was the idea to like, if Elaine was to choose Asriel and like they weren't going like
Mm-hmm.
to veer off the path of saying like just because you're mated to someone doesn't mean you need to be with them. Just
Mm.
like Helion
Trying to do
with
that.
Lucian's mom. I can't remember her name. Lady of the Autumn Court. Just like they hooked up. And is Lucian's mom and Baron their mates, I believe.
Yes.
So you can go outside of your mating bond, I suppose. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
and
Yeah.
like Tamlin said, like his mom and dad were mates, but his mom and dad like were very different, and his mom didn't exactly agree with his dad. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be very interesting to see Elaine choosing Asriel over her mate,
Yeah.
and that would be okay. But if we think about it, like let's
But let's,
dissect this
yeah.
really quickly.
Sure,
Hypothetically,
sure, sure.
if
Do it.
Elaine and Lucian, if Elaine decides to not be with Lucian, and she's not yet rejected his mating bond, mind you, she's
Which is
not.
interesting.
Yeah, she's not yet been like cutting it off. Like I don't want to be with you.
Yeah.
So if Elaine
Do you have
chose,
to do that?
I feel like you would have to. In
Okay.
like other books that I've read that have like mating
Mm-hmm.
bonds in them, a lot of werewolf
You
books.
have to like reject it.
Yeah, I got a lot of werewolf books. I really enjoy them.
I love werewolf.
Yeah.
Except everyone wants to kill Jacob, so on our
On our poll
poll.
on Instagram,
Yep. It's
to bring
hilarious.
back Liam. Um,
Yep.
I
I mean, I can't say that they're wrong.
I mean, I agree.
I mean, sorry, Rosalie.
What
Not
Rosalie?
Rosalie, sorry,
Renesmee.
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 Renesmee. I keep doing that. I keep All right, let's stay back on track. Let's get back on track.
Back on
Elaine
track.
and Lucian
Elaine and
scenario.
Lucian.
Go.
So,
Oh
if
gosh.
Elaine was to be with Asriel, right? In the Face and
Yeah.
bonus chapter, I think if we remember, like Rhysand talks about Lucian can like technically fight Asriel for Elaine, like they can duel it out, kind of thing.
Ooh.
But it's like till death, Valerie.
Oh.
Yeah, and
No.
we all and Reese knows what it's like to have a mate and have someone else be with your mate. Like he full on
Mm-hmm.
knows.
Yes, he
And yeah,
understands.
so like every time physically Pharaoh was with Tamlin, Rhysand could feel it and would know. Like
Ugh.
that has to be freaking torture. I can only imagine. And
Wow.
yeah. And so then what was I
But
thinking?
why are you team Elaine and Lucian? Like, why is
Okay.
that one your number
Okay.
one?
Well, listen. So, again, hypothetically, so if she chooses Azrael, let me just get back to this. So, say she's choosing, but she's going to be with Azrael for now. I would be terrified because right now I think she's just mad at Lucian because of the whole cauldron thing, not realizing it wasn't Lucian who like trapped
Mm-mm.
her. It was Ianthe. Granted,
Yep.
like Tamlin and Lucian were there, but Tamlin was also like lunging and was like, "No, this is
Yep.
not okay." Lucian was
Yep.
upset. Like it was all
Yep.
around.
Everyone
Everyone
was
was
upset.
very angry about it, except fucking Ianthe and Hybern. They were the only
Right.
ones.
Sure. Sure.
Again, Ianthe, true villain. So
True villain. True villain.
I think Elaine just has that block of like trauma in her head, like when the thing happened to her where she got turned into a high pay, which is so traumatic. I think she just thinks in her head like, "Oh my goodness."
She
Associates
associates
it
it
with
with
Lucian.
Lucian.
And I would
Mm-hmm.
be so
That makes sense.
afraid that if her and Azriel are together and whatnot, one day that mating bond snaps into place for her. Say she doesn't reject it for forever. Like she
Yeah.
just never does that whole
Okay.
big rejecting thing. Or one day, I don't understand how their mating bonds work. Like if you reject it, can it snap into place eventually? Or is it one of those things where it
Yeah.
just kind of
How does
like
that work?
it's always there? They're always going to care. I don't know. But anyway,
That's torture,
that's
though, for
torture
Lucian.
for Lucian because
Lucian's being tortured every single day during
he
all
would
of
not be
this.
able to move on because it snaps in for males before females. And he feels this bond to this girl, like this woman,
Yep.
and she feels nothing. She
Mm-hmm.
might feel a little something. But I feel like it would just one day she could wake up and be like, oh my gosh, it's Lucian. And we know that when you're mated to someone, like physical intimacy is unmatched, like that is your mate. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
being primal, if you're thinking about it that way, I just
Sure.
feel
Sure.
like that would lead her into sleeping with Lucian or kissing Lucian, or something would happen, and then she would be cheating on Azriel, and I'd be
Yep.
terrified for her to be caught in like a three-way situation where
Yeah.
now, Azriel has his heart broken and then whatnot.
That's a great point. That's a great
That
point.
just, it stresses me out. Like my anxiety is just at an all-time high, thinking like, oh my gosh, if she does choose Azriel, like what if he gets his heart broken later on? Because one day her mating bond snaps into place and she decides of Lucian. And it could be one of those situations where she's like, Azriel, I love you, but I love
Yeah.
Lucian, and that
But
is
I
my
love
mate.
Lucian.
Like
That's my
that's
mate.
my
Yeah.
mate. And I just feel like that would be really hard. But I do like the idea of Elain and Lucian, because with the whole dresser drawer thing, if we go back all the way to the beginning, Feyre
Mm-hmm.
has the stars, Nesta has the flames, Elaine has the flowers.
Yes.
What? When do flowers like primarily bloom?
In the spring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the emissary for the spring court?
Lucian
I should say.
was.
Yes. Yeah.
Was.
It was Lucian. So Tamlin never wanted to be like the High Lord. We whole Tamlin episode. If you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch. Tamlin never wanted to be the High Lord for the Spring Court. It was just not his jam. So hypothetically, if Tamlin
Oh,
steps away,
use sugar. I'm gonna use your word. Oh,
if
sugar.
Tamlin
Where are you? You're going somewhere here.
if Tamlin was to step away from, because now he's in beast form, he is roaming. No one is taking over this Spring Court right now.
No fucking shit.
No one is
That
taking.
could. Oh my
Let me
god.
finish in case other people are
Okay.
not
Okay. I'm
trailing.
sorry. I already
So
my whole head connected all those dots. I'm like, wait a minute.
So
What?
Tamlin gives up his role as the High Lord, right? Next in line, since Tamlin doesn't have any children that we know of, would be
Oh
probably his emissary, which would be Lucian.
my
Lucian, we
god.
know, is has the ability to be a High Lord because of his father, Helion.
Mm. Yes.
He is Helion's only child that we know of, and he is
Yep.
already exuding that High Lord energy, because we know one day he's
Yeah.
going to take it over. Helion
Yeah.
is still a very young, newer High
Mm-hmm.
Lord. He just
Sexy.
took over. Okay, Roki's artwork. Whew. Um,
Woo.
um, he just took over the Summer Court. So he's not giving it up anytime soon. He's probably not dying anytime soon.
Oh, that's the
Please,
day court.
day, day court.
Yeah,
Tarquin
day
is summer.
court.
My bad.
Yep. Yeah.
Tarquin is
He just
summer. Day
he's in
court.
the he's the
Yes,
High Lord of the
day
day
court.
court.
My bad.
Yeah.
So, Helion's not dying. Helion's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
So, what would make the most sense? Lucian now becomes the High Lord of the Spring Court, because Lucian also is like the in between the human realm and Prythian. And
Hmm.
what court lines the human realm? The Spring Court.
Spring
So
court.
he would literally be the in between, because he has a great relationship with Jurian and Vasa and all of
Oh,
them.
sugar.
So it just makes the most sense for Lucian to take it over.
Mm.
Elaine then comes in, and she, I feel like, needs to be not just like the wife
High
of
lady.
Lucian. Yeah, she needs to
High
be High
lady.
Lady of the Spring
The spring
Court.
court.
And Elaine, I
Hmm.
feel like Lucian would have enough respect. He is a stand up golden retriever human being, that he would be
Yeah,
like,
I love him.
absolutely, like, Elaine, you deserve to be High Lady. You are gracious. You are kind. You, like, can get your fingers dirty, your hands dirty. And she's
Yeah.
also the symbol of like growth and rebirth and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that is why I am
Yeah.
Team Illusion if that was to happen.
What do you think though on the flip side of Lucian's portrayal in Silver Flames? I wasn't really the biggest fan of what's happening with his story right now.
I think he's
This is where I'm
hurt.
like, Sarah, what are you doing? Like,
I
it
think
seems
he's
like
hurt.
it's just jumping around everywhere. I don't know what the hell is going on.
No, I think he's just hurting right now. He's like, he's confused. So, again, getting into Lucian's head, he is now friends with Jurian and Vasa. They're human.
Yeah.
He's a high fae, but he
Mm-hmm.
has no court to go to. His best
Yeah,
friend
you're right.
Tamlin is no longer ruling the Spring Court. The Spring Court is like non-existent. He's just, it's his home that was
Right.
his
So
home for so
sad.
many years, destroyed, gone. The family that he created, which was Tamlin, gone. See you later. Autumn Court can't go back there because his dad doesn't like him. His brothers don't like him. Like he can't go back to the Autumn Court. So he
Nope.
goes to the Night Court where his mate is.
Doesn't know about the day court yet. He doesn't know Helion is his dad, which is stupid.
But anyway, so he goes to the Night Court where his mate is. And he's like, okay, my mate's here. This is where my new
Yeah.
life can be. Well, his mate is not wanting to be anywhere near him, doesn't want anything
Right.
to do with him. So now he's,
Doesn't even like his gifts.
yeah, and now is sitting here just kind of like, he's just like lost. So I think it's a
Yeah.
very lost. We're seeing Lucian very lost, and he's still as lost as he is still like a stand-up guy. He's trying so dang hard with Elaine. He's just giving her space, like, okay, like we're immortal.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe she'll come around, which is again the
Yeah.
theory that again they are immortal. So if Azriel and Elaine end up together, it could last like 300
Eventually.
years. But
Yeah.
like maybe at year 301, she decides to accept that mating bond,
Yeah.
and then there's her and Lucian, like they're immortal. And I just think if you're not, if you have a mate out there and you decide to like reject that mating bond, I would just be like terrified of something going so wrong and Elaine deciding to break poor Azriel's heart.
God, that was really good. That was really good. What a great point, and I can see the story going that way, even though I do not want Tamlin to lose his High Lord status at the Spring Court. I don't know what that would do for him. Maybe it would make him happier. Maybe it'd be better for him in the long run. But I would love. So I don't know. I don't know if I hate that idea or not. I don't think I fully hate it. I just don't know how I feel really.
Okay.
But I think it would make sense, and it's like feels like a good way to move the story forward and along.
Because
And I
Elaine,
love
yeah,
Lucian.
Lucian would be a great High Lord, and Elaine, she'd be a wonderful High Lady.
She would.
And okay, I saw this theory about Azriel and Gwen. I've seen a lot of theories that Gwen's evil. I don't want to believe that because I really like her. But
Well,
I saw this
you
theory,
never know.
and we know Sarah loves to pull these stories like Beauty and the Beast retellings, like every character. The one that I sent you about Cassian and Nesta, I cannot even think about it without crying. So we're not even going to talk about it. About, gosh,
About their potential death. Yeah.
can't talk about it.
Not that
Not
episode.
that episode. It doesn't
It's not
exist.
theirs.
I swear, Sarah, if you do this to me, I will never read another Akatar book because what is the freaking point? Anyway,
Yeah. No, I mean
um,
serious.
so
Yeah.
someone had this theory that that Clotho, who's like in charge of the library and everything, um, with like, sorry, with Gwen and everyone that's in there, Clotho is a fate and like one of the three fates um from like the what's it called, like Olympian kind of esque Greek mythology. There we go, Greek
Okay.
mythology. Clotho is
Okay.
the name of one of the three fates.
All right.
Clotho in Greek mythology, the name of that fate is the one that is attached to the thread of life. Like that's
Okay.
the thread of life. Keep that in mind. Thread of life. Um, and when I mean not Lucian, Azriel gives in the bonus chapter, um, Elaine's necklace to Clotho to give to Gwen, he is essentially giving this necklace to Fate. Like, because she is a Fate. Not
Hmm.
just any Fate, the Fate that is in charge of the thread of life. What is the mating bond described as? A thread. I pulled on the thread. I clung to the thread.
The bond. Yeah.
The mating bond is like I pulled on the bond, the thread that held me
Mm,
there.
yeah.
And she's like in charge of the
Interesting.
thread of life. And when Gwen and Azriel met for the first time, Gwen was having an incredibly traumatic essay experience happen to her. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe nothing snapped into place at that moment. Also, Gwen is described. I think she has like part pixie in her or something. So her bones are very malleable and like can move around and stuff. Azrael is an Illyrian. Homeboy has wings. If they're going to have children, he cannot conceive with Elaine without killing her. Gwen, we already know, has very malleable
That's
bones.
true.
So,
Wait, how can Nesta have babies with
because
Cassian
when
then?
she had her body changed, she says that in the end
Oh,
of Silver Flames, she changed Feyre's body forever and
that's
she
right.
changed her own body.
That's right.
Elaine's
That's right.
body was not changed.
Right. Right. That's right.
Not saying everyone needs to have children and not saying like, but I feel
Right.
like Elaine is very nurturing and would be the kind to want to have
She is
children.
very mothering for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
that is also a thing that why I think illusion is going to be a thing. I don't think Azriel and Elaine are going to be able to be a thing. And that's why I'm team illusion.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of little things going on.
There are a lot of little things. There's so many Easter eggs everywhere, and you just don't know which ones are actually going to come true or come to fruition or what she's putting in there to make people second guess. I think Elaine and Lucian, I do love them. Um, I just feel like the way it's been written just makes me feel like it's not going to happen. I don't really know why, but it's just like, I think, yeah, I think Elaine, I guess now I'm thinking about the fact of her not being able to forgive him for what she thinks is his part he played in her becoming a high fae.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what if she sees the future already and she knows it's not with Lucian? And so that's why she is in a weird place right now, because I think if she can see the future,
What if she sees the future and knows it's with Lucian, but she doesn't want to? That's why she won't reject the mating bond, and that's
maybe
why
that's also, yeah,
she's
and
like
I
has to
think,
get over her trauma.
yeah, so it's either she sees the future, I think, and she sees that Lucian is not her end game, but she also sees that Azriel's not either, and so but she's just like playing around with him. Or you're right, she sees the future, she sees that it's end game with Lucian. However, she doesn't want it and was trying to reject it.
Yeah, and is also
And
like,
and then so that's why she's like looking at Az and like trying to just like, I don't know, maybe change her fate.
yeah,
Maybe she sees that that's her fate and she wants to change it. But I mean, and then I don't also know how much you can change your fate from what a seer has seen.
yeah.
Is that actually like the end all be all, or can a seer who sees the future do anything to change it? I have no idea. Um, she definitely sees something though, which is making her act the way that she is all the time. And she's like needs to hone in on these powers as
Mm-hmm.
well and like get better at them. So let's move on to Azriel and Elaine, though. I think a lot of people online ship them.
Oh,
A
so
lot of people
many,
love them.
so many people do.
So many people really want this to happen. I agree with you. I think that it's too basic. It's too easy. Like it's too like, oh, in the stars, the
Predictable.
three brothers, the three sisters. I don't like it. I think too, I don't think that Azriel I don't think Azrael's moved on from Morgan, and I don't think that that chapter is going to close until they get a conversation with closure, because he loves Morgan and he wants to be with her, and he's been pawning after her for 500 years. I don't think that he's over that, and I think that he's just kind of, Elaine is there and she's sweet and she's lovely and she's gorgeous. And, I think that he does care for people and humans. And so I think he's been nice to her. And obviously there's an attraction.
How could you not be attracted to Elaine? Like, and also, I agree. I don't think Azrael's over more, and I think he's looking for, I guess, not an excuse and not someone to fill the void. That's not what he's doing.
Kind of, though. He was like, you guys get a sister. Why don't I get a
That
sister?
is true. Oh, that was so icky.
It was an icky line, but I think he sees, I think also Azrael's in a really tough place with this right now, because it's one thing for Rhysand to have found his mate and get married, but now it's Cassian too, and he is the third one. He doesn't have a mate yet. the woman he loves doesn't want anything to do with him, as far as romantically involved, and doesn't give him a reason, which still pisses me off. And he's got, yeah, he's got Gwen, but like they didn't have that much interaction in Silver Flames. I don't know if people are really stretching that out or what that plan's supposed to be. And then there's the little bits of Elaine and him as well, which again,
Do you think he's just
the
like feeling like it's just his turn and he wants to just fit in too? Like he
yes,
just wants a relationship?
I think that men and people in general, they get FOMO. They get a lot of FOMO, and I think like what you're surrounded by is kind of like sometimes what you start realizing, oh, well, both my brothers are married. They've found their mates and I'm just still here and I don't have that and I want it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why he's gone after Elaine, because he's like, well, everyone else gets a sister, then I should get a sister. And so I think even though that was cringe, that makes sense for him right now.
It does make sense, actually. The
Mm-hmm.
Morgan thing, I think, makes a lot of sense. But I do think I have a gut feeling his mate, after seeing that Clotho theory, I was like, I don't know. That really might be it. Like,
So everybody's like has also those theories that Azriel's mate is the Crescent City one.
Bryce.
Bryce, yeah, Bryce.
We
And
haven't
I've
read
never
about
we
her yet. We're still
you
in the
haven't read it
throne
about it.
glass world.
Yes. But I do know that a lot of people said that they didn't like Crescent City because it's more futuristic.
Yeah.
So, and that, I don't know if I really like this theory because is Azriel just supposed to wait around for like another 1,000 years or
Okay, no, no,
whatever
no,
to get his
no,
mates?
no. Ugh. Okay, so I've seen gentle spoilers that, you know how Selena in the beginning, I don't know much about Bryce. I know she has red hair. I know she's fiery.
Well, maybe it's the multi-dimension thing,
That's
but
what
I
it is.
still,
Yes, it's the multi
but
dimensions and they kind of mold together at one point.
yeah. I know. I don't know if I like the multi dimensions as much as I like the different points in time. I feel like I like the
Okay.
different points in time better, even though it's probably not true. But I think it would have made more like cool sense of like we're different points in time and Fae live forever. And therefore our characters get to meet up eventually because everyone lives forever.
Maybe
If
the
Bryce is a Fae.
maybe the dimensions are essentially time as well.
Yeah, I have no
I don't
idea
know.
because it made sense. I was like, oh, okay. Throne of Glass, I think, is set in the middle and Akatar is before. And then obviously Crescent City is
After?
after Throne of Glass. That would make sense. And then they live forever and yada yada yada. But who knows, right? I mean, I guess we're all gonna find out eventually. And once we read all of them, we can kind of do a, a episode about what we really think is gonna happen. Um, and if we see the like Easter eggs, or
Yeah.
if there is maybe there is something that isn't thrown a glass where it's like no, that's definitely portals. Which I mean, portals exist, but like definitely multi dimensions. Um, Anyway, I don't think that.
Sorry, I'm petting my dog over here. He's being very, very cute and needy.
Oh, I just I don't know what's in store for Az. I don't know who Azriel's mate is. I just don't think that Sarah is going to write Elaine and Lucian, or no, not Elaine, Elaine and Azriel. And I think that bonus chapter was kind of her way of letting everyone know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
what I
like it
think.
could
Like,
be like I'm sure like we can the bonus chapter was a good way to be like, hey, Azrael does have feelings, Elaine does have feelings, the longing looks and everything kind of just
however,
but think of the grand picture and the grand scheme, like and I give Reese so much credit because Reese in
me
Silver
too.
Flames was not the Reese that was in A Court of Mist and Fury. And we've already talked about this. It's solely because it's different now.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at Reese through Nesta's eyes instead of Reese through Feyre's eyes. But I
Yep.
will give him credit that he had enough empathy for Lucian to be like, I know what it's like to have your mate being with
Yeah.
someone else. Like that's really
Which
not
was
cool,
cool.
Azriel. Like, come on. Like and also I think he was petrified, like, dude, Lucian
We don't need
is going
this.
to be a high lord. Like he has that power in him. Please do not fight because I
You
cannot
are not
lose
a High
you.
Lord as.
I can
Yeah.
like he is as is so strong and probably could go toe to toe. Especially because he's a shadow singer, but he's like, I can't even risk it. I don't want to risk it. And also if Lucian dies, Elain would feel that. She might not accept that mating bond, but Elain would feel that. And I
Yeah.
don't we don't need Elain to feel any other sadness. We're trying to get her on the mend, get her back to herself, unlocking her potential, being amazing, doing all the cool things. Like I think she's gonna be
Yeah. Learning more about her powers and what that's all
absolutely.
about. Um, all right. So I think that that's kind of all there is to be said about the Elaine and Azriel situation. I personally not my
Mm-mm.
biggest
Not who you ship.
yeah, not my ship. Not my ship for sure. So the third contender,
This is Valerie's
came
contender.
this came about from a very detailed like online reading that I did of this person breaking down all of these things um about Tamlin and Elaine, and I think that the only thing that doesn't work here, two things that would be very weird, is one, Lucian was his best friend, kind of ruins it. And two, obviously, he slept with her sister. However, moving those 2 points out of the way, I think that it does make a lot of sense for Tamlin's story in that Farah was the one who ended up turning him into the beast.
Because
And
Amarantha is not the
that's the
witch in like the
curse.
Beauty and the Beast
Um,
retelling.
100%. Farah is the witch, quote unquote. She's cursed him, for being the way he was, right? The anger issues and controlling and this and that and all the things that he has wrong, right? Kind of like when the Beauty and the Beast, original
Yeah.
story, the prince was like, get out of my house. He was selfish. He didn't care about anybody else. I don't think that Tamlin's exactly like that because I don't really think he's selfish all the time. Everybody can be selfish, but I think he just have more compassion um, than why am I blanking on the prince's name?
Prince
Prince Adam.
Adam.
Prince Adam. See, there we go. So I think Farah has cursed him by destroying the Spring Court and all of that. Now he's roaming. He's a beast. But I think Elaine belongs in the Spring Court no matter what, no matter which person she ends up with. Elaine belongs in the Spring Court, and that is her vibe. That is her energy. She is not going to thrive in the night court. I don't see her anywhere else. She needs to be around the blooming flowers and gardens and all of that. But I think it would be really interesting. I think a lot of people would hate it. However, I think it'd be really interesting if Elaine can bring Tamlin back from this beasthood, and like it'd be cool if she just decides to go to the spring court on her own, or I don't know what brings her there, and they develop a friendship, and like she's able to kind of, I don't know, they're able to heal each other pretty much from the traumas that they've experienced, and they fall in love, and then they end up, I don't know, they end up
Together.
mated as well or together. I don't know, but I
Well,
think
even Feyre in the
if
first book,
anything,
she makes a
yeah,
comment about like, wow, Elaine would love the spring court.
right.
This is right up Elaine's alley. Like literally Feyre says that. But hear me out. What if Elaine doesn't need no man and just becomes High Lady of the Spring Court herself?
Yeah, that could definitely happen. I just,
She doesn't have any High Lord blood in her, and that's the only thing that makes me nervous. But like, if you
yeah,
like, what does it actually take to become High High Lord? Like,
I think it's a birthright. It's a birthright
yeah,
thing.
but
The
like,
magic gets
so
passed down from generation to generation as those people die,
yeah, but like, so
right?
hypothetically, say like Lucian was just a normal High Fae,
Sure.
and Tamlin died. Lucian would be the next
Yeah.
in line, would he not? Like,
Well,
or
maybe.
maybe
We
some
don't know. We don't
cousin.
really know. We're theorizing that
Mm.
he'd be the next in line. Um I don't know, and that's maybe something that will need to be explained. Um if Tamlin is done being High Lord, which I really feel like I need to process that more because you blew my mind today, per usual.
Stop.
Um, my lovely spring court. I don't know if I can accept that. I really don't know. I don't hate it because I want him to be happy, but what I would love to see is if it wasn't so weird with the Lucian and sleeping with her sister obviously thing, if they like they could develop a love story and he could be healed
We
and
could see the awesome
rule
Tamlin.
together
Like
and Tamlin can be the High Lord that he has potential to be and that he's going on this growth journey and redemption and all of this and then they fall in love.
well, you have a good point because Tamlin is so anger ridden and Elaine is so calm and gentle and
Yeah.
peaceful that I feel like Elaine could be the one to balance him out and could calm him down and kind of be like, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
sir, we're not doing that. Like, we're going to calm down now. Like, go ahead and get
Yeah.
all prickly, you know? Because I can."
There were just a lot in this article that I read like and I it's been a couple months
Mhm.
now that I read it. I really should have refreshed before filming, but it's just like I'll probably put a link to it somewhere like on our Instagram story or
You
whatever. But
you came up with this theory before the article. The article was literally just a look, someone else's theory.
yeah, that's true.
And like you're like, this see this goes into more depth. This is more because you had sent it to me and you were like, "Oh my gosh." But you
Yeah,
came up
I
with
was
this
I
theory on
was
your
like
own.
obsessed. Yeah, because I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah,
But again, let's think through it. The repercussions, right?
are
Like
pretty dramatic.
that is one hella awkward for the whole family.
And also, how would
Um,
Feyre feel about like cuz everyone hates Tamlin and they're just going to be like, "Oh, we hate Tamlin. We
but
hate
I
Tamlin."
think that eventually Rhysand and Tamlin they need to like come
And be
together
friends
and
again
they
cuz I
need
would love
to
that.
be friends again because I think that they were childhood like friends, like
Mhm.
not child, well, whatever they were, for a reason, and they killed their own families, and I think that like God, that's such a cool story.
But then like
But
what
I
happens
think
to
that they're
like
meant to be friends again.
what happens if Tamlin is not Feyre's I mean, Tamlin is not Elaine's mate and forever Lucian is her mate.
Well, I think what if the mating bond does break? It is rejected, and once it's rejected, it snaps in with Tamlin. And I think maybe the whole thing was Tamlin was feeling this way towards Farah, much like Rhysand was like having all this dreams and whatever. But really, it was Elain.
Ooh. He was so like kind and had so much love for Feyre solely because he didn't realize it was like his her sister really.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I just need these books to come out. I just need them to come out. Like I can't anymore.
I know, I literally can't. I think the only reason why Tamlin and Elain, which I might change my mind again because I'm probably gonna get off here and reread that giant like breakdown
Mm.
because that breakdown really freaking had me convinced and really had good points about all of this that I wish I could repeat. But I don't know, I just can't remember everything. But I just do know that it would very much be that Beauty and the Beast esque story and Elaine is Belle. Elaine is his Belle. And she breaks the curse and she brings him back. So I just think it'd be really cool if Elaine just like rejects the night court and basically is mad and just over it and she just journeys on her own to the spring court and she's just exploring the spring court and in the midst of that Tamlin in his beast form shows up and they have like this like interaction where like Elaine's like picking like bending over like picking flowers just kind of like a wandering maybe like on a trail
I
and
could see
like
him
he
like
comes out in
slowly
front.
walking around and like her like I could see him like as a beast like creeping
Yeah.
around in the shadows and being like oh
Yeah.
watching her like very
Yeah.
curiously, her kind of knowing he's there but not always knowing he's there, her getting a feeling someone's watching her, and then her like speaking outwardly like I know you're there and da 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 da, and just
Mhm.
having daily
Yeah.
conversations with him. He doesn't respond back because he's a beast, and little by little then he takes comes out of his beast form because she's like one
Yeah.
day are you gonna ever talk to me, and then he comes out of
Ooh.
his beast form and then he's
Or he just like she's like walking on the trail like with her basket of like
yes
flowers and he like slowly walks out in his beast form still and like they like have this eye contact with each other and he's just like they're staring into each other's souls and she like calmly like talks to him, and he slowly then transforms back into Tamlin, and he's just raw and vulnerable, and Elaine's just like looking at him, and she's looking at, and then he passes out.
Why would he pass out?
He just, because he's just like, he hasn't been a man for that long, and so he transforms back into Tamlin, and I just see him like, I don't know, naked or whatever, just,
You
and
want to see
he just
Tamlin
kind of,
naked?
well, I mean, I don't know if you're probably naked if you turn into a beast. Is it like a werewolf? I don't know, but whatever he is, they stare, like he turns back into his form. They're looking at each other, and he faints. And she, obviously he wakes up, and when he wakes up, like she's like tending to him, and he looks up at her, and she's just over him with this beautiful sweetness, and then that's where it starts.
I think I would like it to be a bit more of like not him passing out, but maybe I don't know if like the whole like pining thing just took a little longer and it was her going and daily tending to the gardens and asking about like, like, oh, I wonder what this flower is for. And I wonder if this, and then like her trying to grow this one flower and it won't grow. And all of a sudden, after her having these like conversations with him where he doesn't converse back,
Yeah.
one day he walks out in his normal form and he's like, if you do X, Y, and Z, that's why it's not growing. You have to do this, Elaine, and like takes her hands and kind of like guides her hands into doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's, her hands are meant to get dirty somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's sufficiently weird, but it's fine,
I
because
don't
you know
know.
what? But you know what? Like there's so many weird things in amazing stories, right? Like Game of Thrones, we had cousins and siblings and all this, and we're still shipping these people fully knowing that that's weird. So
No, no,
it's
no.
like I
I
think that we
hated
could
Jon
fall in love
Snow
with
and
that.
Daenerys. Hated
I
them.
loved it.
Hated them.
I loved it.
Jon Snow,
I'm
you were
rewatching Game of
so
Thrones right now,
whiny.
actually. I'm Game of Thrones rewatching, and I think after having watched the whole series twice already, and now rewatching after about 5 years, I used to hate Jon Snow just like you. I thought he was whiny, useless, whatever. I would fast forward all of the Night's Watch stuff all the time. I thought it was boring. But now rewatching it, I really like him a lot. And I also love how he is at the very end, and I love him and Daenerys. I think it's so cool. I think that was a great twist. The fact that he's a freaking Targaryen, are you kidding me? And then they're cousins, and it's like kind of weird, but it's like kind of awesome. Oh my god, I was
Team
obsessed.
Cal
The ending was
Drogo.
dumb. But he's dead.
No,
She
how
needs
I
somebody
know.
else.
Who the fuck says she needs someone else? She can be whoever she wants to be. She can be fucking mother of dragons without him. Anyway, I had a
Yeah, but
theory.
it was perfect. They were perfect for each
You
other.
know
It
how it
was
said
fated.
like the sun rises in the north or something, or sets in the west, and the something freezes over. The sun rises in the north, I think it would be, and then like the water freezes over or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know, whatever that riddle was in Game of Thrones. Even this is an Akatar podcast, we're talking about this. Whatever that riddle
All
was,
things fantasy.
I had a full on theory that Khal Drogo, towards the end, where the big like White Walkers fighting battle was coming. I haven't seen this show in forever, so bear with me if I mess it
You
all up.
need to do a rewatch, and we need to do an episode about it. I'm not kidding.
Okay, fine.
Game of Thrones episode is coming, season 2. Do you want this? Let us
Let
know.
us know. But I had a theory that at that moment, Khal Drogo would be resurrected because the power fell and like the power rose in the north. Like the sun was rising in the north, and then they
Mm-hmm.
were able to cross the water, as in like
Yeah.
something froze over and crossed. They were able to like cross the water, whatever that was, like. And whatever that, I had a whole theory. I'll have to think about it. But I was like, Khal Drogo
Yeah.
will come back, and he will come back, and he will be like, let's fucking
Nope.
take these White Walkers down.
Mm-mm.
And then
Mm-mm.
him and his Khaleesi can be together because they just, she like tamed his soul, and he made her
I
into
love
this like
Daenerys.
strong and powerful like Khaleesi that
Yeah.
she is. And I was just like, wow, you're the best. Jon Snow, you complain a lot. You complain a lot, my friend. And like, you are so
He does, but
needy.
I think by the end of the show, before the last season, the second to
He
last
kills
season,
her.
which was better. No, before the That was dumb. The whole last season was
It
dumb.
was.
Everyone in America and the world can agree on that. There were some good parts, but mostly it was stupid. I think the writing made so much sense for us to be revealed that he's a Targaryen. Then they would be two Targaryens ruling together. He would be the king consort, and it was going to be beautiful. And they'd have their dragons, and one of them died, which was terrible. But they still had two dragons to ride together, and it was perfect and magic. And they ruined it.
Well,
They
they only had
ruined
one
it, and
dragon.
I will never forgive them because it was wonderful writing up until that point. But
Anyway,
anyway,
back to Akatar.
back to Akatar. I think Tamlin and Elaine would be a huge plot twist, which would have everyone reeling. And I love to cause some chaos. And I'm kind of a rebel spirit, so I want to rebel against the status quo. Let's go. Elaine and Tamlin, you have my vote.
Elain and Lucian, you have my vote.
So what do you think's going to happen in book 6 for Elaine? Are we going to get more of her? What's going to happen? Let's wrap this up by saying our predictions for book 6.
I think it's going to be Elain and Lucian. I think Elain and Azriel might have their moment, or their moment might be so fleeting and gone now that Azriel gave Elaine's necklace to Gwen.
So rude.
I know. So, I think it's going to get incredibly awkward now. And I think Elaine might hold some resentment like, ew, you just
You
give
think
these
she'll find out?
necklaces to everyone. I'm not
You think she'll find
special.
out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she already knows about it. But anyway,
Oh yeah, she can see.
well, not even just that, but like, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so Elaine's going to see that necklace and she's going to be like, okay, so he just gives these necklaces out to everyone. Like, clearly I thought I was special. I guess I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be like icky to her. And then, sorry, Lucian, you just did that to yourself. Like, I can't help you out there, buddy. I mean, like, Azriel. And then I really think eventually it's going to end up being Elaine and Lucian. And they're going to be
And Lucian's going to take over the spring court.
running that court together. It just makes too much sense.
That does make a lot of sense. I am literally can't even argue with you there. Like, and I'm not even mad about it. But I'm only mad for the fact that might just completely erase Tamlin as a character, and he'll have no redemption and he'll have nothing.
I think
and he'll
he's
just
going
go
to
beast
die.
off somewhere
I think
else.
he's going to redeem himself.
Well,
Tamlin also
everyone, you think everyone's gonna die, Taylor?
Well, I mean, look, Sarah's got to kill someone. I know.
No, everyone comes back to life. They can just get the whole 7 High Lords together and then they're fine. No one dies.
No, I mean, we're not talking about my theory because again, every time I think about Cassian dying and or Nesta dying, I just cry. I can't.
Yeah.
So we can't talk about that right now. But
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional.
But is book 6 going to be an Azriel book or an Elaine book?
I think both.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a both book.
Okay.
I saw online that someone said Crescent City 3 is technically Akatar book 6, and I was like, what does that mean? So we gotta hurry up and read Crescent City because I'm like chomping at.
Well, that doesn't come out till when?
January.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Well, I mean, we're gonna finish it by then, but I'm one of those people who I could like read like a psychopath, and I could be like, okay, cool, we're done throwing
I'm
up.
torturing you.
You are, but it's okay. I love you so much.
I know.
I could like finish throwing a glass like all 8 books. I'm like, oh, give me a week and a half. Done. They're all gone.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I'm really excited to start Air of Fire. I heard it's amazing.
still recovering
Okay,
from a sense
so
of blade, but it's okay.
any other final thoughts before we jump off?
No. I think that's it. I think
we had a good spread.
We had good ideas. Praying. I'm an Elaine. I'm a Lucian girl. I don't know why I just had an accident there. Accent.
It's fine.
Accent. I can't speak.
I don't even know what Tamlin and Elaine would be. What is that mashup?
Amlin.
Amlin. Tane.
Sounds too much like Dane, and I don't like Dane right now, so no.
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for maybe, there's no way to redeem Dane, but whatever. Anyway, that's another episode.
Tulane?
What do you Tulane. Tulane. I'm a Tulane fan, but I know it's not gonna happen. So since I know Tulane's not gonna be a thing, Illusion or whatever. Illusion. For me. I'm team Lucian and Elaine. If my Tamlin and Elaine, which will not probably ever happen, however, would be freaking epic, and everyone would be like, "Oh!"
No one.
Everyone would be so mad. The internet would would
Break.
burst into
I think
flames.
TikTok would catch on fire. Book Talk. Book Talk would
I would,
catch
but
on fire.
amazing, amazing.
Anyway,
Sarah J. Mass, switch whatever you have, do that
and I
story.
swear if you kill Cassian and Nesta, I will
She's
not.
burning it all to the ground.
I cities will burn. I will burn cities. I will riot.
You're like grabbing the microphone. You're just like,
Passionate.
I need you to listen to me right now, as if that's gonna like.
As if she
If Sarah J.
listens
Maas
to
will
this
ever, if Sarah J.
podcast.
Maas ever listens to this, I will literally die in a million pieces. I will
If she ever listens to
freak
this
out.
podcast.
I will. If you ever listen to this podcast and you killed Nessian, I will burn all of your books to the ground. Like
Don't
that's
kill
like,
Cassian or Nesta. Like, please.
oh
I
my
can't. They are my
God.
favorite, my babies, my don't do this to me. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in today on Whimsy Gossip. Endgame for
Yeah.
Elaine.
What do you think? Are you team Elaine and Lucian, Azriel, or do you like our idea for Tamlin? Also, is there anybody else that we missed that you think is a possibility
Eris.
based on the books?
No, I'm just kidding. She would never go for Eris. No, she wouldn't.
I know, but oh my God. I
Valerie's
going
gonna
to
be spiraling tonight. Valerie
I'm
loves Eris.
spiraling already. Like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen in book 6, but I think either way, it's going to be amazing as long as it's not Elaine and Azriel. That is basic as hell, and I don't want it. I don't want that. I want something different and unpredictable.
Yeah.
Always,
Anyway.
always, always. I want to be shocked. And Sarah J. Maas is good at twists and she's good at shocking moments. So that's what I need in book 6. That's what I need for Elaine. That's what I need for Mr. Azriel. All right. Well, it's been wonderful. I love you so much, Taylor.
Love you, Val. And love everyone else, like all of our followers and everyone that tunes in and listens. We love you guys. You are literally our friends, especially the people that we interact with every day on TikTok and Instagram, and who comment on like our videos on like YouTube and even here on the podcast.
We try to reply to everyone.
We really do try to reply because it's so cool having so many friends that are just as into whimsy gossip as we are, as in like not our name whimsy gossip, but like this is side note whimsy gossip, the whole idea of our name, because I don't think we've ever discussed this. Whimsy gossip came by like, what do you call this kind of like nerdy chat with your friends? What do you call this? So we were like, because Valerie and I, before whimsy gossip ever started, we used to sit there and send lengthy Snapchats to each other.
Yeah.
Like lengthy Snapchats, deep diving into our nerdy things. And we would just have like hour-long conversations. And our husbands were like, could you just pick up the phone and call? Wouldn't you think it'd be
No,
easier to
it's not how
call
we
each
do
other?
it.
And it's like, no, we're snapping. Or we'd send like paragraphs. And, you know, when you talk to your friends about the idea of what is, you know, your nerdy chat or your book talk chat and stuff like that. And it was just like, you know, like when you're like, oh, you're like little gossiping, like you're telling, spilling the tea and all that kind of stuff. And that's where we got this idea and the name of we're just whimsy gossip. We're just, you know, it's a little whimsy gossip between each other, just like a little whimsy gossip chat. Like, you know, yeah, we're just whimsy gossiping about this little topic. Like that's where our idea came from. And I don't think we've ever discussed that. But when I say like people who love to whimsy gossip as much as we do, that's the idea behind our name. Like the people who sit there and throw out all these different theories on our TikToks, on our book talks, and nerd out on things just as much as we do.
Content.
We consider in our brain like, oh, they're joining us for a little whimsy gossip. Like they're whimsy gossiping with us. Like, come on, let's go.
Yes.
Let's get this. Like, and so when I say you guys enjoy whimsy gossip, I'm not talking about us and like our podcast and our TikToks and our platforms and stuff like that. I'm saying like you enjoy the whimsy gossip as in like what it is for talking about our nerddoms and our things like that. So we love you guys. We love the whimsy gossip with you guys. And we just want
and
to say
if you are
you.
enjoying the thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the podcast so far, if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, please make sure to rate us 5 stars if you're enjoying this, or write us a little review so we can read it. We'd love to read everything that you guys say about us. Or Also, subscribe to our podcast, not only on the platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, but also on YouTube. Like and subscribe. We put visit videos. We put videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We put videos on Spotify. So there's many ways that you can see our full length podcast, actual visualizing with both of us. So,
Yes.
yeah, we just thank you so much so far. We are and nearing the end of the season. We only have a couple episodes left, and it's just been great to see the growth thus far.
It's been
And,
so fun. And
please let us know what you want to see and what else do you want us to talk about.
stay tuned for a really cool giveaway for an
Oh,
end
yes,
of
definitely
season
stay tuned.
giveaway. It's kind of epic.
We will be hopefully doing a partnership giveaway, and it's like super excited. So definitely be checking out all of our social medias at Whimsy Gossip on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and everything. So
That was my dog. He just like coughed up something. So I'm going to go be a dog mom.
that's our cue.
Bye, guys.
Bye.